So this is how I jacked up my vehicle with the Harbor Freight 3-ton jack stands on a concrete block. You are going to need something to put underneath your jack stands, whether it be a block of wood or a concrete block, because here's the back differential. This is a 2-wheel drive rear vehicle. If you're going to originally put the jack stands here, big beefy axle to jack up on seems like a normal place, but the problem is then you're pushing up on your suspension, and so you're never going to get this type of space in between your springs, and that's where the airbags need to go into. So just to show you both sides, I'm jacked up on the frame right in front of this bar. You can see on both sides there. If you do that, and you can see my tire is still 1/2 inch off the ground, so there is zero weight pushing up on the suspension at all. This is the kind of clearance you're going to get. Then the next step, I'm just showing you this side where I haven't cut any of the rubber bump stop off yet. Get a Sawzall or whatever type of saw you have. This one I made the first cut, and take your Sawzall and cut slice by slice. So let me get the camera up there for you. As you can see, the bump stop has little sections to it, so I'm going to do another cut probably here, that'll still come through, and then another one up there. If you were to cut the whole thing off up here at the top right away, then you have this big 6-inch bump stop, and you might be able to get it through these coil spring openings, or you might not. So I'm just going to play it safe and cut it into 3 pieces, and then I'll make sure to be able to just pop them right through. So you just cut away. So we'll put the camera down, but this is how you would get in position to cut the rubber bump stops. So that's, here's cutting the last top piece off, slide it right out, and that's what your rubber bump stop removal should look like. So that's what you want to leave that top part, and your airbag's going to fit right in there. So do that on both sides. I did run into an issue on the passenger side. The Sawzall started hitting the exhaust before I could finish the cut. I did cut at least half of it off, as you can tell. But to finish the job, just grab yourself a little handsaw, something like this, whatever you got that's small, and probably have to finish the job by hand. But not a big deal. All right, so once those rubber suspension bushings or mounts are pushed out or cut out of the way, now you're going to take your airbag and flatten it out just like this. So take that black cap off, push all the air out. As you can see, it's flattened out, and then put the cap back on. That'll just keep it from trying to expand while you do this. And then you're going to push it in, so point your black nozzle down towards the bottom and then twist it up. You want the black nozzle towards the top when you're done, but in order to get it in, you kind of have to do a bottom up rotation. So it might be different for each person, but basically just figure out how to wiggle your airbag in there. All right, so once you got it most of the way in, go ahead and pop that top cap off, and that'll help you get it into a cylinder shape, because while it's flat, you got these kind of stiff edges, but once you pop that top cap off, some air will kind of make it more into a cylinder, and then should finish filling out for you, easier to get it in. So that's what it looks like when it's installed. So do the same thing on the other side, and then grab your top piece that came with it. Just go ahead and stick that right over the brass fitting at the top. Just lay it down. The brass fitting will go right into that center hole. Let me show you that real quick. So you got multiple holes. Don't know what they're for, but on this application, we're just going to use that center hole right next to my front of my finger. So just put the brass fitting right over to the middle of that hole. So it should look like that. And then take your black hose and stick that onto the top of that black fitting. And then once you're done with that, we're going to route the black hose up through the top of the suspension there, and then back to the rear of the vehicle where we're going to have our T, our air hose T, so that we can once you got your hose clamp on your hose on the bag, then take the end of it, stick it up through that hole you see up there, and then once it's up in the hole, then you're gonna stick your hand over here up on top of the hole. You can see my finger coming down there. Pull it out and then bring it over here. Alright, so now we've got our air line running all the way out the top, and now it's time to run it over to the other side. The directions state to stay far away from the exhaust pipe because this stuff is not heat resistant, so you can melt the whole thing. So I'm gonna come up over this, I don't know what the name for this thing is, thick round tube. You know, it looks like a pretty substantial part of the frame. So yeah, I'm gonna run my line right up behind, actually probably, yeah, behind this. That'll give it the most blockage from the exhaust pipe. So just take a wire tie and zip tie your line up behind that. Alright, so here's the left bag, and got this one all hooked up. There's a lot of different ways you can route your air lines. You can go all the way out to your receiver hitch. You can literally put something, you know, right over here on the just right next to each tire if you want to do a single airline, separate airline for each bag. I'm going to do that just in case I want to you know, pump them up individually. You know, difference of opinion, you can do whatever you want, but I just want to show you how I'm going to set it up. So I got my airline coming out from up there, coming right over here. This cross member wire tied twice. It's at least probably, here's your exhaust pipe, so probably, yeah, I'd say 8 inches, which is what they recommend. It's about that. I put 2 on there just in case one gives way with the heat. You know, something I'll have to probably check periodically. And then you can see the airline going back there. That's obviously coming from the left side. There's the right side airbag, so that airline just comes straight back. Here's a spare tire, so just right above that spare tire, both airlines are going to be exiting right out to the driver's side of the spare tire. And here's all my extra line. So you know, you got your mud flap here, and I'm just gonna drill a few holes in this plastic because no one's ever going to see it up under here, and I'm going to install my two fill valves right here. So alright, so once you got your air lines routed to where you want them, you're just going to follow this guide here for connecting them to the vehicle bumper or body. So I did exactly that, really straightforward. Drill your hole with 5/16 drill bit. That's what your finished product's going to look like. So I already put a little air in the airbags. You want to be in between 5 and 25 psi. 25 psi is the max. 5 psi is the minimum you want to run your bags at. If you're not towing or anything, it's fine to keep them at 5, but you want to have at least 5 pounds of pressure in there. So I'm happy with the install. I think it looks really clean. I know where they're at, easy to get to and air them up, you know, right next to the tire. But anyone who ain't looking for them, they're never going to see them. Yeah, thanks for watching. Leave a comment or a question. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and give it a thumbs up. Thanks.